So this game was first introduced to me by Carolyn Elliott, who is definitely someone who I get a lot of inspiration from. So you should check her out too. So here's how it goes. And at first, so it's the greatest day. You're just coming up with the greatest day that could ever happen to you. And you're just like imagining it. It's just an imagination game. And at first, when I heard it, I was like, okay, like that seems not that telling, not that deep, not that insightful. Cool. Don't we always kind of think of the greatest day, or like, isn't that kind of easy or bland to just like think of some great, awesome day that you could have? I don't know. I just wasn't seeing it totally because it seemed like something that I had already done before. It seems like, I've thought of like what the greatest day would be plenty. But when she really started fleshing it out and saying like, okay, no, here's what you think of, or like she started asking questions like who would be there, then I started to see like, oh, I don't think I really have done this activity all the way. I have just glossed over it in my mind, and you think that just because you're imagining what would be awesome, like, oh, it would be awesome if... You just kind of think of one thing and then you just move on. And then, a couple days later, you're like, oh, it would be awesome if I had a personal chef, or, oh yeah, it would be awesome if I could live at the beach all the time. And that's kind of what you're thinking of for the greatest day. You're not actually fleshing it all out and asking yourself these questions that are really telling. They're important because there's a lot of insight in the questions and how you answer them. So, anyway, I also like, and I'm going to go ahead and pitch for the fact that like imagination is awesome. Going through imagination games is really important for adults, and kids, right? But we think that we just like ditch it as kids. But imagination is how your mind kind of expands, and it's kind of the birthplace of creativity, and it means that you have this skill and this flex, this like ability, this mental flexibility to be able to like see things and visualize them and imagine them and go into this place where you can kind of see it happening before it happens. And a lot of people feel like visualization, even in sports, with athletes, like that is how we do our actual magic. That is how we write the story for ourselves, is by going in there and creating it like a creator in our imagination. And, it's not perfect. We don't just like imagine it and it just like pops out right here in front of us, which is what we want, right? Or we think should happen. And so then we, get disgruntled about it. But like, no, it's still though very real. Imagination is how you work those inner muscles of magic, those inner muscles of self, the inner world, the place that isn't this outer world that you can see, that inner world that is you, that is the deepest stuff of you. Imagination and, that muscle of visualizing and going in there and seeing what there is to see and creating what you'd like to create. Sports folks visualize what they're going to do and it helps them actually do it. Whether it's like, I'm going to do this half twist when I'm up in the air and doing this gymnastics trick or whatever, and it's going to be like this and my body is going to curve at this rate or whatever. Visualizing actually helps them do it. And visualizing winning the race, visualizing pulling forward at the very finish line or whatever. All this stuff like actually helps them do it. It is a skill. It is something that brings us closer to really creating it. And it also gives you this stronger mind, this stronger inner world, because I don't even just think it's the mind. It's a stronger heart. It's a stronger self to be able to flex and listen and create and do both things that the heart and the mind do. And just go inward and imagine. There's really no other word. I'm sitting here trying to think of another word, and it's just like, it's just the word imagination. That's what it is. So anyways, this is also an awesome game or exercise because it is like doing an actual pumping iron exercise in imagination, expanding that skill, expanding that part of your being. that does expand you. I mean, it totally gives you more flex, more wonder, more ability to shift and be resilient and see a bigger picture and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to harp on that anymore, but I will say, here we go with the greatest day imagination. You're going to imagine what your greatest day would be like. And, it's not like what I want my life to be like. You really specify a day. And the reason is to narrow it down and to actually get some real answers to this. And then it does tell you about yourself in a big way. It's not just we're imagining this one day so we can get this one day to happen, but it tells you things about yourself at the bigger scale by zeroing in and focusing this exercise to a smaller scale of like, okay, what would this day be like? Like maybe it's a day of great success and great accomplishment and everybody's there to celebrate what you've done. Or maybe it's not. Maybe you don't care about it being a great day of success and accomplishment. Maybe your greatest day would be like you solitary in the woods beside a creek or climbing a rock or not. Maybe it would be a day with a certain one person or with 100 people, all of your best friends. Carolyn actually did imagine this or get us going in this vein of like the big party is being thrown and all your people are there, all the people that you want to celebrate your great accomplishment with. And you can try a round of this imagination game that way. I mean, I think that's definitely, you should try them all, really flesh out these things because they each tell you something different. So imagine an accomplishment, imagine a party, and who would be there? Who would be there? I mean, she really made us get into detail of like, how would you wake up? Where would you be when you woke up? What kind of bed? Who would be there with you? I mean, what would the room look like? And how would things go? Would you have like 30 minutes to wake up? Would you get to lay in the bed and tell jokes with, whatever, my kids or your best friend or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or, whatever, what would happen? And, but like really timeline it, get specific. Like, would you do that for like 30 minutes and then this breakfast would be delivered to you in your bed? Or would you go down and make the breakfast together? And what would be the breakfast? Or do you hate breakfast and you don't even want breakfast? You're just going to like get up and immediately go outside and sit in the warm sunshine in the garden? Or are you going to go for a run because that feels really good to you? Or are you going to just like do some yoga on the floor or like have a dance party? Or are you going to sleep in till noon? What is everything going to be like? And the room that you wake up in, the bed, what is it like? Is it really cozy with tons of pillows, not a lot of pillows? Is it the floor? Is it a hammock outside in the forest? Like what is that greatest day? Ask all of the teeny tiny questions that you can even think to ask. And then after that, what happens? After breakfast, what happens? What's the breakdown of the day? What's the schedule? When do the guests come? If you're having a party, when do they come? And what do you do before they get there? Do you want them there right away as soon as you walk down the stairs? Or do you want to get to do all these other things with your family beforehand and then your guests come? Or do you want to sit in solitude on the beach or swim in the ocean waves or go surfing for an hour or for 5 hours and the party just happens at the end of the day? You come in when it's dark and you've surfed your brains out and there's no more day and you just walk in and there's a party of all your friends there waiting. And, she also wanted to know about the food, like, and what is served at the party? What's your favorite foods? Or, who are these people that are there? And all the details, right? So I'm still just going through this as an example. Don't take any of these things as like written rule or finite. Like it's not only these questions that I'm asking. I'm saying ask yourself even more. Anytime that you see a little place where you can say, and then what, or and what else, or whatever, do that and answer. And then you start to realize certain things. She asked, because I think her greatest day did have to do with like a party and a great accomplishment. And then it was like, and what offers will the people bring to you? Kind of like the people that are there. I mean, they might bring you gifts, but will they offer you? Because Carolyn at that time was like really wanting to grow a business, I believe. So it was like, then there were going to be these other people there. My friends were going to bring me offers. They were going to bring me offers of like, hey, and you can do this business together. We can start this business together, or you can come on my podcast, or, we can, like, collaborations. I guess that's the better thing, or part of the word offer. What will they offer? What will they give you? What will they bring? What collaborations will happen? What will you start to build? What creative things will happen that day? What will you start to grow? Because even as the day is ending, and it's the greatest day, part of why it would be the greatest day is because a seed is planted, or something is being built, something is growing that will continue the next day. That's what made it so great, is like I made that business partnership, or, they offered me this amazing thing. And so then we're going to build it and we're going to grow it, or we created this thing. We forged this, partnership. I don't know, that word. There was another word that I used, and I'm forgetting it now, but it was, something that was more than just an offer, but something that will grow, something that, collaboration. That was it. Collaboration, because it's a creative collaboration. It doesn't have to be a partnership, just a collaboration. Or maybe it's solitary. Maybe there's no other person involved. It's just something that you created and started to build. That was the day that you started whatever to build this thing, that then is the dream rocket ship for the rest of the other days. So you're asking yourself these things, because then the way that when you get in there, because this is what happened with me, when I get in there and try to really imagine it and visualize, there's sometimes blocks. It's like, oh, I can't. Why? And you have to get past the resistance, and then you have to change it to what does work for you. And then, you like discover something about yourself. There were things that came easily to me, like, the food we would have. Like, I'm clear on my food. That was easy for me. It was like, we'll have this kind of food, and we'll have this kind of, healthy stuff, and somebody else will make it. It won't have to be me, and it'll arrive like this, perfectly done. And things like that were easy. But then when I started to think about things like, okay, who will be there? That was harder. Because I do like a lot of time alone. And so then I was like, okay, well, if I spend all this amount of time alone, then in the evening is usually when I like to be with others. And it's like, because that was the schedule of the day too. So these are the things you learn about yourself. You're like, so having this whole accomplished day and doing all these things and being around the people that are my very immediate contacts during the day, but mostly kind of doing some things on my own. And then the party would have to be in the evening when like my energy is kind of spent and all the building blocks have happened for the day. And then that's when I want all the people or something like that. It lets me know little things like, so that's kind of the pattern of my day that I like. It helps you realize like, I must work best in that social way in the evening, or the productive way earlier, or in the productive way alone. Or I like to create like mostly by myself, and then just bring my ideas that I've created by myself, like together at the table for presentation. And like, ooh, that's interesting. That's how I must work. That's how my inner imagination of my greatest day kind of works. But also it's just fun. This is like pleasurable. We are extracting cool information about ourselves and like getting greater insight. But it's not just that. It's also just fun, like thinking of your greatest day. And like I said, it's an exercise in your imagination, and it like gets you into an amazing heart place, like sitting there imagining your greatest day every day. Because when I did this, we did this every day for an entire month. Man, that just opens up your energy and like puts you in this like amazing radiant hum or vibration of, greatest day energy. And who doesn't want to be in an awesome state of energy all day? Who doesn't want to start that off for themselves? Yeah, so the other thing I want to give is an example of a place that I got a little stuck and that I needed to get creative with, because I'm using myself as an example so you guys can see how this goes and you guys can get ideas on what I actually mean by, getting detailed about your greatest day and seeing what it tells you back in response. I was getting hung up on that part that Carolyn was talking about of like, what do you want to be offered? What kind of offers do you want people to bring? And, what kind of collaborations and whatever, because even though I do love the idea of collaborating with others, I was definitely realizing, as I already said before, that like, I kind of wanted to do my creative stuff alone and then like present ideas and then create together after that, like, in these little stages. But offers, like the word offers, like what kind of offers and gifts and things would you like to be given? I was just getting a little snagged on it. I mean, I love gifts. It was easy for me to think of like, I can say I appreciate gifts. I don't love gifts. I'm not one of those people that just like needs to have them, but I can appreciate them. I can think of gifts that I might want, but they were not feeling like this amazing rush of my greatest day. I'm just not as into gifts. It was giving me like more of a meh, like great, maybe they could give me this, maybe. But it just was a little snag because it wasn't like a big resistance or anything where I was like a mental block, like I don't want anything, which can happen too. You could totally have like a place where you hit a wall and you have to just like redirect, like, what do I want then? What would I rather instead of this word? Or do I not want to include this into my greatest day? But for me, gifts were like, yeah, I could take them, I could leave them, they're all right. But it was just a meh. And so I needed to figure out like, all right, well then dig deeper. What kind of offering would I like? What would I like if somebody offered it? And I had to get really crazy and creative actually and start thinking of like off the wall things. So I started to think like, if people were like offering me land, then I would be that would get into like my greatest day, my all the way like amazing flow of like, the greatest day, not just a meh. If people were like, oh my God, I have this like tons of acreage or this beautiful piece of land, or like, and I'm just, here you go. Or if they were offering me houses or if they were offering me properties, or if they were even offering them as like house swap, like, hey, we never used this beach house of ours. Like, why don't you come and use it? And that would be like greatest day. That's the kind of offering I would like. Or the other thing I thought of, which is even more off the wall, is like if people were offering me children. No joke. Like if people, I don't know in what context people would be offering me children, but if they were like, oh, well, there's this child that we know of through this person, that person, or whatever, that like really needs a home. Would you like to have this child? Would you like to bring it into your family and keep it and, raise it and have this child? Like, then I would be like, yes, these are the offers that I really want. Like, this is a gift. These are the greatest day kind of things. And that's when things started to open up, then it was like, oh, I can think of offers now, there are some like business collaborations and things like that I would be interested in, but the ones that had the strongest like vibe, the biggest like hum of like, yes, that would be great. Those were the ones that were land and children. And so what does this tell me about myself? Obviously I still included in my mind when I'm mapping out the greatest day, some of these other business offers and things, but like, wow, it kind of tells me that those are the biggest gifts in life to me. Those are the biggest things to be gifted with. And it tells me a little bit about my role as a mother. I already knew that I love being a mother. I had somebody ask me recently, when I said I wanted to have another child, like, why do you want to do that? And I'm like, I don't know how to describe that to you, but it gave me a little bit of a better way to grab on, or a better feel, for like actually presenting that or understanding that about myself, explaining it to others. Because it's a huge freaking gift to me. It's like the greatest offer you can be offered from the world, from the universe, like it's the greatest gift. Obviously that was in my meditation. Like people would just offer me children. That'd be great. So obviously that's how I see it. That's how I feel about being a mother. It did tell me a little something that I did kind of already know about myself, but it was interesting to see it play out that way. And to get even more of, like I said, a fine sort of grab on it. And let's see, that was another thing that was hard for me. And then accomplishment. the word accomplishment, where it was like, okay, and what accomplishment do you want all these people to be there celebrating? I was like, I don't care if anybody's celebrating I mean, it just wasn't, it was a little bit of a snap. That was a little bit more of a like brick wall. Like I just couldn't. Now I do like to feel accomplished. And so I started teasing around with this word accomplishment. Like, okay, do I just not need an accomplishment? I do. But in my greatest day already, there were elements of accomplishment already built in, but they were more important for me to feel accomplished, So it was like, I did want to do tons of creative stuff. I wanted periods of time with great productivity and great creativity, so that I was like feeling accomplished about these wonderful creative things that we were going to like now move forward in the world with, yeah, that was a part of my greatest day. So accomplishment in myself in that creative way is important. And then there were physical ways, things that I wanted to do physically. Like I wanted to, hike up a mountain or surf on some water or, really get in there and do things with my physical body and be worn out or feel that sense of satisfaction or accomplishment of like my physical fatigue in my body, like really having used it. I wanted to feel that. And those were built into my greatest day. And I wanted a sense of playfulness. And I wanted to do all this playful stuff. And so that tells me that like, hey, that's important too. And then, I wanted those playful times to be like hard play and then like kind of segue into like a quiet, peaceful sit by the river and generate all this nice creative stuff. And so that also tells me maybe how I accomplish, like maybe that's the order of operations where I need to like get out there and physically, tangibly do things with my body or playfulness or get into a playful mode and exert myself playfully. And then that would put me in the best state next to be able to, sit down and create and generate that real accomplishment, or that would be the right combo of accomplishment, physical playfulness accomplishment that then leads into and naturally develops into creative accomplishment. But again, all that accomplishment was kind of coming from me. And then I was kind of struggling with this, like, do I need people to come to a party and celebrate an accomplishment of mine? Probably I just would have rather people come to a party for the sake of like fun and connection and playfulness. If we were gathering together because we all wanted to like play badminton on the beach, that would have been more of a reason to have a party than, celebrating my accomplishment. That just didn't quite work for me. So then it started to let me know like, hey, that tells me more about what accomplishment means to me. That tells me more about what people and celebrations and social stuff means to me. It's like more to do with playfulness. And I could envision having a party so that we all play and then create together, this collaboration of creation. Like, okay, I'm going to put this idea forward and then you're going to like take it and run with it. And we're going to like, you put out one line of the poem and then I'm going to take the line of the poem and keep going with it. And you already know that I like to play that game. So that's why I'm doing a little wink here when I put that out there. But that's the kind of stuff I would love, that kind of accomplishing together. And that would feed into that word collaboration, or what kind of offers I wanted to do. It wouldn't even be them offering me something. It'd be like that collaboration, like sitting down and creatively doing something and accomplishing together. And so then I started to feel through like how mine would be a little different than what hers was like. And it started to tell me things about, like I said, what accomplishment means to me, what social means to me, why I want people in my life, what I want to do when I gather together with people. I mean, we could just be going to the beach for the fun of going to the beach. That would be more of a reason for a party if we had all decided to do that together. Then we would be gathered, and that would be maybe a greatest day, to bring everybody together for some awesome playfulness, like a beach campfire. And then we like all did this like creative thing together after we had played our butts off, then we like really accomplished something together. Ropes course or something even that was playful and accomplished, but these are the kind of things I started to realize, like sitting down at a fire and passing around some poetry or reading all of our favorite poetry to each other, or like accomplishing something or feeling deep satisfaction or accomplishment together. That would be part of mine, you know, versus maybe hers, where people were congratulating her and there to like honor her accomplishment. So, I mean, I think I've given enough example. I just, you know, I feel like it was really helpful for me to see how hers played out and to hear hers and to realize how mine was different and to almost go through hers and plug in her details and ask myself those details, ask myself further details that I made up myself, further details that occurred to me to ask. But that whole thing was really helpful. So that's why I'm giving you tons of information about how it went for me and what mine was like, because I think that helps to tease through the differences, you know, and to see what level of detail I'm wanting you to go into. I don't just want you to be like, a fun day at the beach with my friends. Like, give me a lot more than that, you know, a lot more. And ask yourself about things like accomplishment and creativity and patterns of the day and, you know, how you work best and what kind of food you wanted and what kind of gifts you would receive and what kind of collaborations you would want. What kind of offers would you like? You know, what things are important? What kind of physical activities? Does it even play a role? Would you want to just sit by the fire all day? Because my daughter would totally sit by a, you know, fire or in the house on a couch all day. That could be the greatest day. She didn't even have to stand up, you know? So cool, you know, things that you know about how you need to operate, what fuels your being, what do you need to start including in your everyday so that it can be closer to your greatest day. That's the whole point. So give it a try. See how you like it.